welcome you to the Flathead Home Show, where we're going to talk every single week about trends in the real estate market and what's happening in real estate right now here in the Flathead Valley. I'm Leah Lindsay.
And I'm Justin Meccia. And Leah, why don't we talk about millennials in the marketplace this week?
Yes, awesome. It's just a huge part of the marketplace, and we're going to find out more. We do want to say thanks to our sponsors. Of course, the show powered by Brian Murphy and Nikki Marengo, ReMax Rocky Mountain Real Estate. And next week, we're going to do some home flipping.
That's
believe.
right. Yeah.
We'll talk about that. But also making this show possible, NuWest Builders, Murphy's Carpet Cleaning, Stat Restoration, and Escape Now Spas.
Excellent. And so to join us with our discussion about millennials in the marketplace, we have some industry favorites here. Joining us in the studio, I'd like to welcome Trevor Howard, ReMax of Whitefish.
Hey, Trevor. How you doing?
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Kinsey Stoudemire with Keller Williams Realty, Northwest Montana.
Hey guys, thank you so much.
Hey there, lady.
And Clint Eckern, may I say the Clint Eckern, Man Mortgage?
You can. Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
You know what, guys? I'm happy to have you here. We have an important topic. We've seen growing trends with this definition of a generation in the marketplace. And before we get into those numbers, what actually constitutes a millennial?
Well, Justin, from my perspective, a lot of things that I read said it was 1984 was the starting point, which I was really surprised. I considered it 1990, and so when I was lumped in there, it was quite a culture shock for me, myself.
Not only are you a millennial, then,
I'm
Kinsey.
1986.
And you also have a lot of clients that are millennials, don't you?
Yes.
Okay. So 84 to what?
84 till what?
1997.
Is what they're classifying as a millennial.
Yes.
No, I had looked some things up, and I kind of thought like 1981 was kind of the beginning.
You know, and I've seen sources claim that they're subcategorizing the millennial generation as well, you know, pre and post certain marks. Trevor, what are your thoughts?
It seems like a very large time span, and being from the early 80s, I was a little bit surprised to come across and find out that I am being lumped into the millennials and not with the X and Y generation that I identified with when I was growing up.
Wow. So you're like, who am I now?
I've got to always creating an identity and figuring out a little bit more about ourselves.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, it's very interesting. It's very interesting how many millennials are not only working in the real estate marketplace, but also how many are buying homes.
I'm glad you brought that up. And this is why we brought it to the Flathead Home Show, is because according to the National Association of Realtors, their 2017 home buyer and seller study, if you will, concluded that millennials made up 34% of market sales in the previous year. So that would be, we're talking about 2016 here, which makes them the number one buyer group. Now, here was the surprising thing for me: 4 years in a row. Okay, this is
number one buyer group 4 years in a row. Do you guys? Does that?
I can definitely attest to the millennial, this age group, as being a large portion of my clientele. You know, I think they're all young professionals now, kind of finding their own, and then coming out and looking to buy a great house. And not all of them have the confidence to move into that home purchasing realm, I guess. And so I think it's our job as agents to really convince them and support them in that process, because it can be intimidating and a little daunting moving forward, especially when, maybe they don't identify with their own ability to buy a house.
Well, here's what's interesting. The Nielsen Survey reports indicate that nearly 25% of the millennial generation is married. And similarly, nearly 25% of the millennial generation has a bachelor's degree or greater.
Really?
So this also, they state that this is actually the most of any generation ever. So in a short term here, we can say the millennial generation is the, quote, most educated generation.
Most educated, definitely.
As industry professionals in the home buying process, Clint, do you guys have any, have you noticed a change here? Are their tools getting sharper, or how do you?
It's, I think the availability of new technology has certainly helped the fact that, you get online anywhere now and everyone's getting educated about everything. So I think to that argument, anyone that's checking the internet out these days is overly educated compared to what the past generations have been.
That is such a great point, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Well, it shows, it shows all the way through the lines of anything even I deal with on the financing side. People are more educated in that they're looking stuff up beforehand, but still don't quite know what to do or how to get into a place. So we certainly see that quite a bit.
So in a sense, they're sort of shopping before they're physically shopping.
Correct. Yeah.
So,
and it's like financing versus buying a house. They're doing both, some before the other.
Got
Wow.
it.
Wow, that's smart though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's super smart. I'm wondering for Kenzie, how many, you grew up here in the Flathead, yes?
I did.
Correct?
I graduated from Whitefish in 2005, and my mom still lives in the house that she bought in 1986.
Wow. That's
So, yeah,
awesome.
the same house I grew up in.
And do you find a lot of your clientele coming from people that maybe you went to school with?
That's one of the things I love about the Flathead Valley is that there is a lot of locals here that, are multi-generational. I think a lot of my age group, at least in my clients that I'm seeing, are late 20s, early 30s. So I think with the millennials, we're taking longer in terms of getting married and starting a family. So I think naturally that buying your first home is kind of later in life versus maybe your generation or my grandparents' generation, who got married so early.
So
had
yeah,
kids right out.
I think I got married at 19, had my first at 21, another one at 23, another one at 25. It was a different way of doing things.
Yeah,
we weren't as smart as you guys.
It's just a different culture. And like what Clint said with technology, we have a cough, we hop on to WebMD and find out we're dying. So I think that too, it's a great tool to use, but you really do have to be careful. There is a lot of false information out there.
Good point.
There is a lot of pictures that are being painted to this generation that, in my case, there are hurdles that I have to overcome personally. That
Gotcha.
they have an idea of what they're going to spend or how the process goes, and it's not always necessarily the case.
Well, we've got to take a quick break, and we'll come back and talk about this some more and kind of dial in more about millennials in the marketplace.
I'm glad that Kenzie mentioned hurdles. Let's talk about that.
Okay, I like that a lot. We'll be back with the Flathead Home Show.
Ken at Escape Now Spas understands the power of escaping to a world of peace and relaxation. He's using his 22 years of pool and spa repair expertise to bring high-quality American-made spas to the Flathead Valley. Mention this ad and receive $1,000 off Platinum Series spas, $750 off Escape Plus Series, $500 off Escape Series, and $250 off Patio Series spas. Escape Now Spas also offers pool and spa chemicals. Visit Ken at the Mountain Mall in Whitefish for your new spa today.
Are you planning on building your dream home or maybe renovating your current one? As a Flathead Parade of Homes multiple-time award winner, Eric Payne with NuWest Builders will bring your vision to life. An experienced contractor, NuWest Builders partners with you from design to site prep through construction and completion, exceeding your expectations every step of the way at a drastically more affordable rate than you ever thought possible. Find out more online, NuWestBuilders.com. NuWest Builders, the luxury high-end custom home builder. Luxury as defined by design, not by cost.
When people have a flood or fire, they worry that the repair cost will be more than their insurance company will approve. No worries with Stat Restoration. We use the same estimating software and pricing as the insurance companies. Plus, we work directly with your adjuster so you don't have to. Take your worry out of that flood or fire. Call Stat Restoration. We are your masters of disaster.
Masters of disaster, go Stat!
Welcome back, Flathead Home Show. I'm Leah Lindsay.
And I'm Justin Meccia. We're going to continue our dialogue with the millennial in the marketplace. Talking with Clint Eckern, Man Mortgage, Kenzie Stoudemire, Keller Williams Realty, Northwest Montana, Trevor Howard, ReMax of Whitefish. Just before we took a break, we were talking about hurdles in the marketplace. And shall we chime in? Maybe some specific hurdles? Clint, what's your perspective?
I mean, I'll start specifically on hurdles that I deal with on a day-to-day basis with the millennial market. And really, actually, this applies to any market or any generation. But the three biggest things is the first one is job history. The biggest thing that I see right now is, people just don't have the 6 months needed for employment, and that job history is just not there.
6 months, same job, or 6 months, same type? Can you specify a little?
Yeah, 6 months, same job. So that's kind of the key point. Now, if you're commissioned or if you're self-employed, that stretches to 2 years. So keep that in mind. But yeah, 6 months is kind of the key barrier for the hourly or salaried employee.
But we don't know where we want to be, Clint.
Well,
Well, and a lot of people choose to work seasonal jobs here,
Yes,
whether
sure.
they're working in the forest service industry or
Yes,
working for the
exactly.
ski resort in the wintertime.
And,
Right.
and seasonal is totally possible too. 2 years consistent seasonal work.
Yep.
That makes it work easy too. So
Really? Okay.
yeah.
So this is a great strategy. If you want to buy a home, you've got to
Yeah.
kind of follow those guidelines.
Exactly. Think ahead. Plan for your job history. Know that you found something you at least want to do for that 6 months plus.
So, no, millennial, pay attention. Know that one of the questions Clint's going to ask you is, how long have you been working?
Exactly. If it's not 6 months, we'll still talk. But yeah, we got to figure that out.
You might have to set them on the path.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And then, savings is another big thing.
Okay.
So, one biggest thing is we got a lot of people saying my rent's too high, I need to buy, and they have no savings. A good baseline is to have at least 2 months after closing costs, down payment, whatever it is, have 2 months in the bank. So if
Of
you got
living expenses.
Exactly. So
Okay.
if you got
Smart.
payment primarily for the mortgage. So if you got $1,500 mortgage payment, have
$3,000.
$3,000 after everything's said and done.
Okay.
That helps things immensely. You don't have to have that to the T for some programs, but it makes it definitely nicer.
So start saving.
Keep in mind your security deposit too. That'll go for it.
Absolutely.
Yes, it will.
Gotcha.
And one thing that I recommend to a lot of my clients who are stretching to get those the down payment and all those costs and closing fees is look into some of the Montana Board of Housing
Wow, you're
programs.
so right.
It's really neat. They offer a lot of great programs for everyone. Whatever earning bracket you're in, but it's a good program to at least explore that as an option for.
And those gift you
for
down payments, correct?
Yeah, that's right. It is a great platform. They've got a lot of great state programs. They have gift programs all the way up to $40,000 as a
Wow.
deferred second.
Wow.
Of course, some of those can be tricky to get into, but that's always something you want to talk to your favorite lender on. So that's for
A
sure.
lot of times, I'm sure, I know you do this at Man Mortgage. There are first-time homebuyers classes that you arrange for people to go, and that helps them gift different, like the Montana Board of Housing loan, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, there is usually a class you have to take for first-time homebuyer education. It's actually offered by CAP down off of Main Street right here in Kalispell. There's 2 times a month, and you can do that, and it definitely helps out, gets you to know everything included with a home purchase, because it's not just your mortgage payment. That water heater can go out in 6 months, and if you don't have that money saved up.
I recommend it to all of my clients, regardless of their age bracket, but definitely for the younger folks who aren't 100% confident in their ability to purchase and own a home.
So one of the things I'm hearing here is that there's a lot of counseling involved with an applicable or an interested home buyer. Somebody comes by to any one of you professionals and says, I'd really like to pursue this American dream of home ownership.
Absolutely.
What do I do? There's probably some considerable amount of hand-holding. Do you find that with this generation, which may be more inundated with technology and information than the previous generations?
They know more than the rest of us.
Right. Or maybe they don't. Maybe there's a lot of misguided information. Do you find opportunity there to maybe correct some myths or squash some myths?
I certainly do in my profession, and the big thing for me too is really time frame. I think millennials are very instant gratification. I have this idea, I want it finished tomorrow, where really the road to home ownership can be a lot longer than most people think, depending on your own specific case. And really developing that counsel with your lender and your realtor is just essential to get yourself the best rates, the best price, really the best all around.
And it sounds like you should begin that road, that journey, really as soon as you feel like you're able to. Even if you haven't been on the job for quite enough time, great opportunity to start talking about it now.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the biggest thing that people don't, if they say, I just don't make enough money now, you'd be surprised. You might make enough money to get a home. And then not only that, you have to start somewhere. So if home ownership's in your future, you think it is, start the process, even if it's a couple years down the
I
line.
like how you said that, because mindset for me is a big thing. Like, I don't have enough credit, I don't have enough savings, I don't make enough, and then they come in and they talk to a lender, they talk with me, and they're genuinely surprised at the answers that
And
we
it can
give
be
them.
empowering to these buyers, because they come in. I was one of them as well, getting married at the time and feeling very insecure about decisions that I made in my past. And
Right.
once I sat down with a great lender, came to a point and was very surprised at what I was able to afford. And then, it really gave me a lot of confidence moving forward.
I can only imagine how empowering it is for someone in their mid-20s or even late 20s
Absolutely.
to suddenly be a homeowner.
Yeah.
I mean, that could change your life forever. Not only have you suddenly, you're building equity and you have all of these things set up in front of you, but the confidence that you probably take forward in your job and in every other aspect of your life.
It's the life adrenaline right there.
The number
There you
one
go.
investment in self right there is that pursuit of a mortgage payment, right?
And I think you
Yeah.
can be really creative. It's not always for your primary residence. We had a 19-year-old who was gifted a large sum from his grandfather and actually put it down on an investment property and was still living with his parents.
That's incredible.
A millennial using his money wisely?
Weird.
He's still living with his parents, which, I know everyone was giving him a hard time for, but it was funny when we asked, like, are you going to move into the other half of the duplex? He's like, no, that's cash
you gonna-
flow right there.
are you
He's
gonna
got
quit
RMR
sleeping?
coming in right there.
You're going to quit sleeping between mom and dad? Get your own bed? I'm just kidding.
Kinsey, you touched on immediate or instant gratification, and I immediately thought of how on our phones we have these names for this artificial intelligence. However, when Trevor was talking about grant programs that are provided here locally by the state, offering down payment assistance or maybe different purchase incentives on their home, I really kind of thought, there is no replacement for life experience. AI does not meet life experience in this category, so it's beneficial for the millennial or really any generation to begin the dialogue early.
Yeah.
And
that's a huge piece because I know financing specifically, I mean, it's great to start your own research and everything, but when you go to Google and you type in, where do I get financing? What programs are out there? The amount of information that's going to be thrown at you is going to could be state specific, not state specific, and get to the point where it's just better to talk with your lender, get to know exactly what's available in your area.
Pre-planning to make you competitive within a great or a highly competitive market that we're dealing with now with low inventory. So going to see great people like Clint gets you prepped and ready to go.
Absolutely. And working with great agents that perhaps are right in your same age group, I think.
Absolutely. I think working with someone that you like and who understands you is really important. And building a rapport is not overnight, which is something that no website can give you.
Absolutely.
No website can care for you like your lender, like your real estate agent who wants you to succeed, who wants to put you in that dream home. Like, I guarantee you, we are all on the same team.
Everybody's working together for one common goal, and it's millennials in the marketplace. And I think this has just been a fascinating topic.
Absolutely. You guys are all doing a fantastic job. Keep up the great work.
So, of course, let's kind of recap who our guests have been today. Justin, Meccia.
Yeah, you betcha. I'm actually standing next to Trevor Howard with ReMax of Whitefish. Next to Trevor is Kinsey Stoudemire, Keller Williams Realty, Northwest Montana. And of course, we also have Clint Eckern with Man Mortgage. 3 very reputable people in our community, serving all generations. Here we are discussing specifically the millennials.
Yes, that's right. And of course, it's a Flathead Home Show. This next week, we're going to talk about flipping coming up. And our shows are on KJJR, News Talk 880 KJJR, Saturdays 8:15, and again Sundays 12:15. Powered by Brian Murphy and Nicky Marengo, ReMax Rocky Mountain Real Estate, and also making the show possible, NuWest Builders, Murphy's Carpet Cleaning, and Stat Restoration. Also Escape Now Spas. It's the Flathead Home Show with Justin and Leah.
Excellent.
And welcome home. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.